your life. It's do or die. The sun may never rise again, so be the light of vision. This is your life. It's living by. You try to run and fall again. You get back up, that's living. Every day I feel like I wanna forget, and everywhere I go I see the angel of death. To the left I see what's right, but I hold it in the wrong hand. It's a fight, I see my life given no chance. It's hard to wake up, but I wanna believe that I'm not alone with the broken dream. All the glitter ain't gold, don't be naive. Leave it all behind, just follow me. Yeah, trust me, just breathe. One day you're gonna see. Yeah, trust me, just breathe. Otherwise you're living on your knees. This is your life. It's do or die. The sun may never rise again, so be the light of vision. This is your life. It's living by. You try to run and fall again. You get back up, that's living.
Welcome back, you guys, to How to Live Adventure review for the MTI 440X, which is one heck of an amazing machine if you guys have seen episode 1. But this episode, we're going to get into the details. Like, how fast does it really go out of the box? And then how fast could you possibly make it with some of the world's experts in making boats go fast? As of now, it's the longest 450 outboard catamaran made. Can it possibly be fast, being so big? And is it faster than the iconic MTI 390X? Well, stay tuned, everybody, and you're going to find out. But you're going to find out how to live adventure style. Where did we leave off last episode? Oh yeah, we just took delivery of the MTI 440X, and we were about to leave HaulOver Inlet out of Miami to go on the, well, I'm calling it the Great Southern Florida Loop of kick-assness.
What do you think, honey?
Anybody else feel like we're laying railroad tracks in the 1900s and we couldn't get out of there fast enough?
Shaun, thank you. Milton, thank you. Juan, thank you.
I'm 11 minutes away, and I miss you all day. I'm 11 minutes away, so why aren't you here?
And just like that, we were on our own. It was time to go north. And we were under the gun a little bit because we were trying to get to Shaun Torrente's house and test facility by 4:30 in the afternoon when all the locks close. Now there's 4 locks on the way to his house, and the mileage is about 200 miles, and we're leaving at 1 in the afternoon. So if you do the math, well, it's going to be the first real practical test for the speed of this boat. Unfortunately, we can't control how fast we move through the locks. And when they close, they close. You get stuck in a part of a river that there really isn't much in, so you're probably going to be camping. In which case, I'm pretty sure Sarah probably packed provisions like ramen noodles and beef jerky. But I'm not sure. Let's hope we don't have to find out again.
We're at HaulOver Inlet, which is right over there.
Which has probably become the most infamous inlet on Earth. Alright, you guys, we're going to start getting into the details of this review with its first run through HaulOver. Well, it certainly wasn't the worst day at HaulOver. There was an easterly wind hitting against an outgoing tide. And that did make for a couple of steep rollers that might have been 2 or 3 feet. You can hear me here asking Sarah, where is he? I'm looking for the drone pilot and I haven't seen him yet, and I have to go really slow until I see him, and then I can buzz by him. But it is going to make our first run pretty conservative through HaulOver. I think I might have sworn there a little bit. I was pretty impressed with the way it hit that wave. And that's because how it felt. When I landed, it felt great. It just landed flat without a hard bump, and the CG felt perfect. Sure, it wasn't the biggest wave, but it was steep, and it was maybe 2 or 3 feet, but it was the first one that I hit with the boat. That was the first reveal as to the bigger seas capability of this boat. I'm going to replay it so you can actually hear the boat leave the water. Now remember, Sarah's holding the camera. She's not holding any sort of handle on the boat, and she's not thrown around. You'll also notice that I was not into the throttle on the apex of that launch. I was backed out because I knew I was going to get air, and I didn't want to re-enter the water under full power and put too much torque on those props and lose one, which does happen quite a bit. Now this is where I totally jinxed myself. I have 25,000 miles on these outboard cats, and I have never thrown a prop or a blade. Yep, for the purpose of content on this channel, I have completely screwed myself. I just hope it's appreciated. You'll also notice a lot of spray there from the drone shot, but the windshield doesn't get wet, and that's because of the spray rail design on this boat. It's pretty effective. And finally, we all know that film does not do a sea state justice, which is why I'm going to throw this drone clip in there. Look at the size of the boat, knowing it's a little further set back in 44 feet. And then look at the size of the waves of the outgoing current hitting the easterly wind. Granted, they're not 4s and 5s, but they're certainly not 1s. I'm calling these between 2s and 3s, maybe even a little bit more than 3s on some occasion. And don't forget, when we left HaulOver Inlet, we were smack dab in the center where the waves are the biggest. In any case, the 440 actually has the same wetted surface as an MTI 48 inboard because, well, the 48 inboard has about a 3 to 4 foot bustle off the back. And the 48 is considered a very capable offshore vessel. And after the first run through HaulOver Inlet this day, the 440 felt that way. So it makes sense. And although I'm not super excited to show you guys my completely dorky reaction after my first trip through HaulOver, again for the sake of content, here it is.
This thing is sick. This thing is sick. So much better in rough seas than the 390 and 340. Like exponentially better than 390, but 340 way better than 390. This thing is awesome. We're gonna hit HaulOver.
That was hard for me to watch, but keeping it real. Then HaulOver for a second time for good measure and a lot of fun. And we peel north at a high rate of speed to St. Lucie Inlet in Stuart, Florida. Man, it was so good to feel the open ocean. It was sunny with an easterly breeze which gave us about 2s to 3s for the next 100 miles. And it was perfect conditions to try out this hull for an extended period of time. Now, our average speed was between 70 and 90 miles an hour, which took us about an hour and 15 minutes to cover that 100 miles.
This is truly remarkable. Now I know why 48 to MTI's inboards pass me in the 390 all the time. It's the same wetted surface. We're in 2s and 3s doing 70 to 80 miles an hour. Rolling coal, baby. This is it.
Again, a little hyper on that reaction, but that's how I felt at the time, you guys.
Getting hard to sleep, blood is in my dreams. Love is killing me, trying to figure it out.
Well, before we knew it, we were in Stuart. Yeah, I couldn't help myself. Time for a quick snack and a hard to port. As I said before, we were in a rush, so we didn't spend much time here. We just rolled right through, but I hear this is an amazing town to visit. It didn't take long of beautiful travel to come up to our first lock. This was actually Sarah's biggest stressor. She didn't want to screw up in the lock, and it was our first time. What was it going to be like? It was highly likely that we didn't know what we didn't know. All right, here we go, hon. What are we thinking?
No pressure.
No pressure. Your first time coming into a lock here. No pressure at all, hon. Don't worry about it.
Nice to meet the film guy.
I'm the film guy and I'm the boat captain, so there's that. I realize some of you hardcore high-speed guys might be like, why are you putting traveling through locks in this episode? Well, one of the coolest aspects with this boat specifically is that it's a pleasure boat, is you can use it in so many different ways. Because it has a shallow draft, it doesn't have a tall clearance, it's super efficient, and it's really fast. You don't always have to do a poker run. You can cover a lot of ground, see a lot of different places, and do it efficiently, in style, and have a ton of high-speed fun. And now with the bigger hull, you can actually see some bigger seas with it as well. It is starting to look like the 440X is a win all the way around. But the review's not over. So to you hardcore high speed guys, we are going to get to the numbers. We got you. This is for the fans that like the story part of the adventure review. You see, their boating lives matter too.
Oh, it's stressful.
No, this is cool, isn't it, hon?
We never navigated the lock by ourselves, ever.
Do I have a green light? I have a green light. All right, here we go. The lock is now closing, and it's a little creepy. It's closing in around us, hon.
And we're gonna lift you guys about 13 feet. Just take the slack out as we come up. What you don't want to do is let it float out there because the current will take the nose of your boat and push it into the wall.
Jason, that was our first lock experience, and I don't think, honey, we could have actually had better lock guides. Thanks, guys, so much, man. You made it a great experience for us.
25 miles later, we were rolling into the Lake Okeechobee Lock. Lake Okeechobee is also known as Florida's inland sea. It's the largest freshwater lake in the state of Florida. It's the 10th largest natural freshwater lake among the 50 states, and the second largest natural freshwater lake contained entirely in the continuous lower 48 states, just after Lake Michigan.
Here we are.
Yeah, one of the cool things is we're in Lake Okeechobee, and this is one of the lakes in the U.S. that we can get out in the middle and we won't be able to see shore. So it's a pretty big lake. It's very shallow. We have to stay in the markers.
Now this is going to be a perfect time for me and Sarah to test the top speed of this boat in this adventure review. Because we're fully fueled, we have all of our gear, we have flat water, and no wind. So we're going to go ahead and set the baseline for this boat as it comes from the factory with factory props, factory setup, with realistic weights for fuel and gear.
Ride, slide, dip and low. Black Cadillac on them hottest smokes. Ride, slide, smoke control. Black Cadillac on them hottest smokes.
And as simple as that, we have the number. There you guys have it. We got to 118 with quite a bit of fuel on board, and we did have a lot of gear because we had spare props and a ton of travel gear and camera equipment. So you're going to get 118 out of her. You're lighting her up with less fuel, less gear. You're going to get right around 120 plus, and that's factory MTI 440X with 450s. Now that's interesting. Look at our reflection in the display. That's amazing how well the new windshield for the 440 works. There's no wind. We can do origami if we wanted to. To be honest, that number's quite astonishing for a boat that's 5 feet longer and wider than the 390, because the 390 with the same prop got the same speed. I think it's time to get to Shaun's house and see what we can do with this vessel. The only problem is we didn't make the time. We're stuck at Lake Okeechobee. The locks have closed. Let's see if this button works. Well, thank God for a little place called Roland Martin's in Clewiston, right off Lake Okeechobee. The problem is it's right on the other side of this lock. We're walled off.
So we're here at Clewiston Lock, and I think we operate the lock by ourselves, but we're not sure. I think we have to push a button.
We were able to get the lock open and saved with a pretty cool bar, restaurant, and hotel room for the night.
Lake Okeechobee's right over there, and we're gonna go into the Tiki Bar. This is called Roland Martin's. It's a very famous place on one of the locks on Okeechobee, and it's a lot like Everglades City, if you ask me, which we love.
After a cool night at the bar dockside, maybe I mean lockside, it was time for a good night's sleep and an early rise. It took me less than a day up in that region to realize that patience is needed up there for survival. It's something I just simply don't have. By early that morning, and by traveling as fast as we could, when we could, we made it to Shaun's in enough time to start testing that afternoon.
The only reason we didn't make it was we didn't make the lock in time.
It's gorgeous. I'm dying to work on it. I've already clearanced the lift. It was built for a 390, but luckily it still fits a 44.
Really?
440, yes, barely.
And one thing I love about Shaun is that he is probably less patient than me, and he's just a go-getter. So within a couple of hours, this boat was ready for its first test. Now I've got a little bit of a disclaimer coming up here, and it's because we just don't want anybody chasing these numbers down and hurting themselves. Please realize that even with the boating experience that I have in these cats, I'm not modifying them and putting these numbers down myself. Instead, I'm having a 3-time world champion and professional boat rigger do that. It would be irresponsible for me to do that myself and possibly even dangerous. I highly recommend keeping your boat stock as it came out of the factory. In fact, mine's going to be going back to stock immediately after we get these numbers.
What the fuck's wrong with your hand? You know what? That's what happens when you're white, Hal. What happened? You were driving with your left hand yesterday, weren't you? You don't have
Backhand sunburn.
You don't have melanin in your skin. See, look,
Shaun,
brown.
your melanin is like
brown.
fucking it's like 1/10.
Brown. the one positive being Hispanic.
Shaun's heading out for his maiden voyage in the 440. This is his first time in this 440. He's going to put a baseline on this setup. It's important to get a baseline so we know what we're improving, if we are improving. You got to be honest with yourself.
I got serious FOMO. I need one of these, and mine's coming soon, but I can't wait. Boat's awesome. So first baseline run, super impressive, 33s, 123 on the bump box. We're going to go ahead and plug in our AIM, which is our data acquisition system, into it now. That way we can also test acceleration, because we're going to go up with the motor. It's got plenty of water pressure. Won't necessarily go faster, but we're going to get more acceleration. And when we put a big prop, hopefully it'll go faster, or a bigger prop, it'll go faster. Basically, we're just trying to fine tune something that's really, really awesome. First impression is I'm glad my bank account is empty, because this thing is awesome.
So you were doing like 6450, just bumping it?
Yeah, so we're on the bump box hard, 6450, it was like 121. And I'm gonna let you in on a little secret that most people don't know, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it, because everybody thinks you hit the up button and go faster. When a boat's really good like this, it's not the up button, it's the down button. You actually hit it down, it'll lay over, and it'll pop the tail, and that's when it picks up a few extra mile an hour. So let it hit 121 on the bump box, not going any faster, hit the down button, boom, it levels off, tail pops, and it goes 123, boom, just like that.
You call that sitting on the bubble?
Get down on the bubble.
Shaun, were you a little bit puckered if this 440 was going to fit in a 390 slot?
Not as puckered to see if it's going to fall off one way or the other right now. It's not mine though, so no big deal. No.
Why are we experimenting on his lift with my boat?
It's spinning back around. The good news is we treat our clients' boats with more respect than we treat our own. Our friends' boats, however, different story.
See, one thing that Shaun doesn't realize when he's busting my balls is that the editor has last laugh. Let's take this shot for example. It is great to know that a third grader could theoretically drive a 440. Alright you guys, the story in this epic adventure got us here, but we're going to lay off on the narration for just a little bit, because by testing and rigging it this way with professionals with the right computers and the right tools, we discovered some pretty astonishing things with this hull design. So we're going to roll the raw footage for a bit so you guys can get these pretty surprising details right from the source. You see, hardcore, high performance guys? Patience does pay off. Something tells me though you guys just clicked fast forward to that content anyway. You might want to try it sometime though. You might like it. You never know.
So we got our data acquisition plugged in, and we're going to go do an acceleration run, which basically we'll do 40 to 100, and then check 60 to 100. We'll do it both directions, and then we'll come back. I'll check that on a laptop while Nick goes up with the motors, because they're too low for me.
So if we're already at 6,400-ish, we're hitting the rev limiter, raising the motors up isn't going to give you more speed.
No, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to optimize the setup, because if we optimize the setup, even though we don't go faster, the boat will be more efficient. So that means when we put the next pitch on, you'll be able to possibly pull it and go faster.
What do you think of the size? Like, what do you think of the cockpit size?
Dude, it's awesome. Like most people, honestly, like if you look at a 390 and look at this, they'll be like, oh, it's the same. But when you've run one for 3 years, and then you get in this, you're like, wow, super spacious.
And did you notice the windshield's higher? So I actually feel like it's going to be better for people riding in the back too, because it creates that wind shear. It's just a little bit higher.
Where they gave it to you was 16.1. Same propellers, back-to-back tests. We went up, and now it is 14.1, Nick? 14.9. So picked up 1.2 seconds, 60 to 100. So it's more efficient. It was a solid 123 on the bump box.
We just raised it up a bump.
Yep. Still good on water pressure. More even though, because we didn't go the same amount on both sides. So now it's even both sides, which is good.
All right, so that was some DeWalt 34s.
Yep. They're old style though, they're low rakes. We really need high rake, but so it's gonna hurt on acceleration, I know that. But it was really promising because it pulled them right to the limiter. 124, 125, and then I put it down the bubble and it ran 127 solid. I saw 127 solid on GPS, but it didn't stick, so it stayed 126. I'll check the aim now to see what it exactly was to the decimal point. But really,
so fantastic news to to already have a 440, a very large cat.
Well, it just shows the efficiency. The efficiency on this boat is 5 feet bigger, it's 4 or 5 inches wider, and it's only a mile an hour. No, it's a mile an hour better than a 39, because a 39 with those 34s goes 125.
It's a 1 mile an hour better than the 39 with the same
size propeller on the same river. Yeah. Same thing with the
It's efficiency.
It's just efficiency. That's it. Once it's rolling, it's got all that tunnel under it. It's super happy.
Mikey.
I don't know, man.
Might go out accelerate, but they don't get rough, and we'll just roll right by them.
And there you guys have it. After the first day of testing, this boat is so efficient once it's rolling that it's 1 mile an hour faster than a 390 that is 5 feet shorter with the same horsepower. And here's what's crazy. We're not even done with this setup yet. We still have tomorrow. If we can get a boat this big to 130 miles an hour with stock 450s, that would be absolutely game-changing to the industry. Honestly, it would be mind-blowing. It was time to call it a day and see what the Torrentes had to eat. This is a keto dinner.
We did keto dinner from Michael Howe.
Keto dinner with a
What is it? Keto drink?
that's not quite keto. Then an early to bed and an early rise because it was time for us to get serious here. Look at this. We've got 450s in fog. 450s in fog this morning. Oh my God. Let's just listen. Let's just listen and then bring and just absorb it all. You hear the birds. I wish you guys were all here to enjoy the sounds out here. Just amazing. I'm excited for a wonderful day on the water.
Is this your life? It's your one time. The sun may never rise again. So be the light, not vision. This is your life. It's living by. You try to run and fall again. You get back up, that's living.
Oh my God, Shaun!
Oh, look, Hal. Right there.
What is this?
Right there.
Look at that. You just made a 440 go 130 miles an hour with 450.
But it's also not like it's warm. It's 85 degrees. I'll pull up my app right now, but at least 70% humidity. It's hot.
So that's a good sign for...
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Come on now, Sarah.
Leave it all behind, just follow me. Yeah, trust me. Just breathe.
You want to show what it says or no? Do you not want to? It's really up to you how to live. You want to build? Want to build some? Go here. You can go here if you want.
It's your one time. The sun may never rise again. So be the light, the vision. This is your life.
Shaun, I don't think... Yeah, I know you want to just play cool right now, but I don't think you could be happy with that, right?
No, I couldn't be happier. I mean, my fear when I ordered a 440 was that it's hard to top the 390 because it was so good. But this thing is incredible. Your pitch that I was running today in this, which is crazy. So it's more efficient.
And
Again,
people might say, oh, it was a windy day or something.
No. It's also 80-something degrees.
85 degrees and 70% humidity.
Yeah. So it's not like
optimum.
we have perfect conditions.
I see the angel of death. To the left, I see what's right, but I hold it in the wrong hand. It's a fight, I see my life.
Okay, everybody, this is Shaun coming in from basically a run. His last run, we just put the tall props on, and he's screaming and yelling. 135 out of a 440 with 450s? Are you effing me?
This is your life. It's your one time.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Shaun, you got it on the back of the seat, dude.
Got it everywhere, Hal. It's everywhere because it's real.
You rang it out. Look at that. Wait, hold on. I can't see that. Let's trim. Hold on. Oh my God.
No, right there.
Oh my God.
And there. And there. It was solid 135. I was waiting for 136.
Or for safety.
Look, we don't want to put it in anybody's face how fast the boat went. And then people will try to beat the number. And if they knew the number, they'd be like, there's no way that's possible because it's ridiculous. It's so fast. And
they're not even going to believe you.
They're not even going to believe you. And
so obviously we can't show them any numbers like that.
We can't do that. We can't show it to them.
So we're just not going to mention it.
That's it. Quiet. Mum's the word.
The 120 boat.
120 boat.
All right, you guys, I'm sorry Shaun and I couldn't help ourselves. But honestly, that was one of the most fun times of tuning a machine in my life. And the boat did go back to stock. That's how it should be run. And I truly love her that way. So after a couple days, this boat is awesomely finely tuned. It's super efficient. We've rigged it with the correct props, the correct offset, the correct heights to be reliable, safe, and perfect for a fun run. So I want to thank you, Shaun.
No, thank you for trusting us, the guys that are awesome. And just trusting us with your boat. I mean, I've been running up and down the river the last few days, so I appreciate the trust. And we're happy that we could deliver something that was, with obviously MTI, with an incredible foundation. We could just do a few things to make it just that little bit better for how to live.
We'll see you at the Miami Boat Show, and then good luck abroad on the races this coming up this spring.
Straight
Reigning
to
world
Indonesia.
champion. It'll be now 3 times,
3 times.
possibly a 4th.
That's what we're looking for. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Dipping low, black Cadillac on them hunters, smokes, ride, slide, smoke control, black Cadillac.
Honey, I give you mad props.
You're so punny.
6 misfits rolling through your hometown, 'cause we ride, slide, so we hit the flow.
Here we go to our next stop on this adventure. I think it's probably going to be like 600-mile adventure. Honey, we're going to be heavy again. We're carrying a lot of props, but part of the tuning game is you have to have the right tools to figure out where your boat wants to be. This is a brand new boat. I mean, this boat is not only brand new to me, it's brand new to the world. This is hull number 1. And so we really started from ground zero to get this thing tuned for me perfectly. So it takes a lot of props. All right, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed this second episode with us of the 440 review from Howe2Live. And for all those out there that are saying, oh, you can make a video longer than 20 minutes, we'll watch. Well, here you go. Prove me wrong, you guys, and blow out the numbers on the analytics of this video. Stay tuned for episode 3, which is just as exciting as this one. Boat safe, boat happy. We hope to see you guys out there someday. Over and out.
Time isn't now, you gotta go. 'Cause if you don't reach, you'll never